Hey, what's up guys? Back at you with another video, and this time I want to talk about this current sale that Native Instruments and Heavyocity are running in this NKS partner sale. Now the whole thing is you can get up to 60% off some of their super sharp scoring tools, including Damage 2 and Symphonic Destruction. Those two specifically, I think you can get up to 50% off, and then with the Scoring Collection 3, you can get up to 60% off. Now all the other single instruments by Heavyocity are going to be up to 50% off, but man, are these plugins really worthwhile taking a look at. If you make any kind of music that is epic, massive, and requires hard-hitting orchestral type scoring, trailer music, anything like that, these two plugins, Damage 2 and Symphonic Destruction alone, can create entire scores for trailer music or anything that's really intense and has that mood-evoking cinematic sound. Now, for the purposes of the rest of this video, I'm going to focus squarely on Damage 2 because this is an upgrade to Damage 1, which is a part of the Complete Collection bundles that you can get on Native Instruments website, and it's definitely one that I have used probably the most out of all of Heavyocity's plugins. So to finally have a Damage 2 upgrade to really take a look at and dig in, I think that it'll be the most useful for this video. And if you like this video and you want to learn more about Symphonic Destruction or any of these other plugins that are in this sale, because there are so many. We got Mosaic Leads, Aspire Modern Mallets, Mosaic Plucks, Vocalise 3. I mean, there's just so many plugins that come from Heavyocity, and they can really do so much within each individual plugin that I think for the purpose of this video, I just want to focus squarely on Damage 2 and the usefulness that we can get out of this individual drum plugin. But just know all of Heavyocity's plugins, you can get up to 60% off, at least 60% off the Scoring 3 collection, or you can get up to 50% off the individual plugins. And also keep in mind too that there is an upgrade for Damage 2 if you are an owner of Damage 1. And if you just click this Save Now button, it'll take you right to the sales page. And on Native Instruments website, you can either get the full version for $249. There's a cross-grade option for $179. And then if you already own Damage 1, definitely log in to see what that upgrade price is to see if you can get even lower than both of these prices. Okay, so that's the Heavyocity sale, and that's going on till February 20th that you can take advantage of any of those deals. But let's jump into Logic now and take a look at Damage 2. Okay, so Damage 2 offers 3 different instrument options. You have an Ensemble Designer, a Kit Designer, and a Loop Designer. And we're going to take a look at all 3 of these, and we're going to start with the Ensemble Designer first. So if I click and drag this into Kontakt, we'll see that it loads up this snapshot that is named Armageddon 2. Just going to drag this over a little bit to center in the screen more here. Okay, so this is Damage 2, and I want to give you a little bit of an overview of what you actually get with Damage 2. So what is Damage 2? If you haven't guessed already, it is the ultimate epic percussion plugin with 60 gigabytes of massive drum sounds. Damage 2 includes over 41,000 samples of war drums, bucket kicks, taikos, ethnic drums, hybrid damage sounds, including things like dumpster hammers, metal pole clangs, crashes, and gongs. It's actually a plugin that took Heavyocity 10 years to make. And to say the least, Damage 2 is an epic upgrade to Heavyocity's renowned Damage 1 drum plugin. With Damage 2's over 1,596 unique sound sources, 208 snapshot presets for Kontakt 7 and Complete Kontrol, Damage 2 truly sets the bar for epic drum sounds. Okay, so that's what Damage 2 is. Let's dive into the Ensemble Designer and take a look what you can do. So how the Ensemble Designer is laid out is that you get 3 different key sets of drum sounds. Each key set has an octave's worth of drum sounds. And if I go ahead and press a key on my keyboard, that's the first key set. And then if I go up to C3, that's the second key set. And then all the way up at C4, that is my third key set. Now what's really cool about Damage 2 is that you can go to any of these key sets really, and then if I go down to C2, we have this drum stage up here where we can place the individual drum hits wherever we want. So C2 has this drum sound. I can place this all the way into the left corner, or I can place it all the way into the right corner, place it up front in the center. Now what's really cool about this is you can actually change the depth of the drum stage itself. So if I go ahead and change this to make it a really small depth, so it's really up and close, anytime I trigger one of these drum sounds within the first key set, you're going to hear it really close up. Make it even closer here. I think that is such a unique feature, and I haven't seen that in a drum plugin yet. And the depth for that soundstage goes across the board for all the key sets. So if I go over to the second key set, it's up and close, and then same thing with the C4 key set. Everything's up close. Now for any of these key sets, you can really change the position for any of these hits. So if I want to put this second one over here and just like move all of these sounds out really far and separate it, I can do that. And then just drag it over here, and let's see what this sounds like now. Everything is spread out across this sound stage. So that's the sound stage, and then below we have all these mix settings for the different mic positions for close, room, hall, LFE, and crush. So you can dial in different sounds with the different distances that they've been recorded at. And then if we go to this drum option over here for all the drum settings, as long as we have the follow MIDI button turned on here, anytime we trigger a drum sound, we're gonna get the updated drum settings right here to dial in. So let's say I wanted to change the decay on this first hit here. I can just drag it down. Not that I would really want to do that. But if I trigger the second drum sample, you can see that decay jumps up. So anytime you have follow MIDI turned on when you trigger a drum sound, it's going to take you to the individual drum settings for that particular sample. So that is just the stage page here. But if we click on the source page, we'll see that we have so much control. And because Damage 2 comes with over 41,000 included samples, we can go through all these different categories to add them to our different key sets. We got Monster Ensemble, Organic, Taikos, Ethnic, Cymbals and Gongs, Found sounds, so that's things like dumpster hammers, dumpster crowbar, there's like a metal pole clang, and if we scroll down, there's like all these different Foley type options that are hybridized and hard hitting. We got trash lid, low plastic tubs. I mean, just like a lot of unique sounds that you can use for hard hitting drum sounds. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to load up a Taikos sound. I can click on this category over here, and with auto engage, I'll turn that on. You can hear the preview play. And you can separate between, that's a little bit of a longer sample there. You can separate between all Taikos, Chinese toms, favorites, and the separation goes across the board for all these different categories. So if I go to the organic here and then click the drop down, we have all these different options per bank to separate out our different sounds and then find what we want. So like this one's separated between lows, highs, and favorites. I'm gonna go to the lows category here and see what we can find. This one's my favorite, so I'm gonna go ahead and just drag it to the C key on my first key set. And then when I trigger it, it's velocity sensitive, of course, so it's gonna sound more soft when it's at a lower velocity. But at a higher velocity, we got our monster low war drum. So you can go through and really combine these however you want through the different parts. Say I wanted to add this to the second key. Let's see if we can find something else for that one. Yeah, I like that sound. So this is the source page, and you can favorite things by just clicking this little dot right here, and then you'll see when we click on the favorites category, it's been added to this bank. I'm just gonna go and unfavorite that for now, and then go back out to the stage page. Now that we have these two samples loaded up in the first key set, we can change the sounds within the drum settings, and because follow MIDI is turned on, anytime we trigger something, it automatically goes to those specific settings. So if I wanted to like bring the decay down on this one, it's just like any other sample that may be preloaded within a snapshot. You can change and customize those different sounds. Now for the last two pages within the drum ensemble part of Damage 2, we have settings where you can actually go even further to fine tune your different drum sounds. And you'll have different options, and it's always going to let you know what key you're on. I love that part about Damage 2. There's no guessing. You know exactly what key you're on and what sample you're editing, because not only do you have the key designation there, but you also have the name of the sample listed. So when you switch between them, it lets you know what you're using and what you're editing. Another super cool feature about Damage 2 is having per note or per sample performance options. So if I click and engage this performance button here, you'll hear when I play this sample back that I have a roll turned on, and you can change the rate. That's at a low velocity if I hit harder. And then you can also change the rate here as well. Now you can also have it so that it's set at a specific roll rate and then have the velocity change per your mod wheel. So if I engage it and then use my mod wheel while triggering this sample, man, I just absolutely love that. And then you get all these different options for flam and repeat and swell and crescendo. So a lot of really useful per sample settings, especially speaking performance wise. You can also change the tune, attack, and decay for each of your drum samples. But yeah, this performance feature is so amazing, man. It's just what a useful utility when you're making this kind of music, right? And then of course there's a master effects page that will apply effects to the entire sound of all of your key sets and drum sounds globally. We got the classic punish knob here to really drive up the overdrive. You can also change these different effects around that go in serial. So we got filter, punish, EQ, compressor, saturation, delay, and reverb. So yeah, you can go in and change these however you want them to be. And then you just click on the on button to engage them. So yeah, this is the ensemble part of Damage 2, and it really does give you a lot of control over how the different ensembles sound. And then if you go to this drop down, you can see there's a ton of presets for different ensembles that you can try out. Let's just go and try out a few of these ensembles. Love it. So much percussive variety. I love Damage 2. It's amazing. Okay, so that is the Ensemble Designer in a nutshell. Let's go ahead and move on to the Kit Designer now. Okay, so the Kit Designer is a much more straightforward instrument option for Damage 2, and it's laid out much like a regular drum rack that you might see in Ableton Live, where you have all these different drum pads laid out, and each drum pad has its own different sample. And how the different pages are broken up inside of the Kit Designer is you have a mix page for changing all the different levels for your drum sounds. And you can use the relative gain or volume sliders here to change the levels for the different drum samples. The source page is where you can change what is laid out on the different drum pads. So you can go through the different banks like we did with the Ensemble Designer and choose what you want to be on each individual drum pad. So if we go to the Monster Ensemble here, we can turn on auto, hear what these sound like. And you can simply just grab and drop it right on that drum pad. And now that sample is on that drum pad. We of course have a settings page where you can change and tweak the different sound settings for each of the drum pads. changing the level for the different mic placements, tune and velocity sensitivity settings, attack and decay, release. And just like the last instrument option, as long as MIDI follow is turned on anytime you trigger a drum pad, you'll see that the effects and everything that are laid out on each of the pads will update depending on what pad you're on. And then just like last time, Master Effects section that applies effects globally, exactly like the last instrument option. Personally, I prefer more so the Ensemble Designer, but this is just a different way of looking at the drum samples. It doesn't have a drum stage where you can place your drum sounds within a different sound depth like we did with the Ensemble Designer, but it's just like a more straightforward option where you can lay out all your sounds on these different drum pads and then tweak the settings and effects per drum pad individually as well as globally and in the settings as well. Okay, so the third and final instrument option for Damage 2 is the Loop Designer. Let's go ahead and drag this in. Yes, we want to replace. Okay, so essentially how the Loop Designer for Damage 2 works is that you have 3 separate loops locked and loaded on each octave. So C2 has this loop, C3 has this loop, and then C4 has this loop. Now you can trigger all 3 loops at the same time from C2 to C4 using the first key on C1. So if I go ahead and play C1 on my keyboard, we can see that all 3 of those loops are playing at the same time. We can definitely tell too because there's this useful indicator light that shows up on each key showing audio output. Now you're not stuck with the loops that are on these keys. If you want to custom control what loop is playing, you can simply select another key, and now C1 is going to trigger this configuration of loops. That sounds pretty good. And then if you want to change the loop that's triggered over here, let's maybe go to this loop, then play it. So that's pretty straightforward. And then as you go up the octave for C1, you get different loops playing back. So a lot of different loops giving a very layered, that sounds really good. But then you also have this transition section here. So C5, that octave from C5 to B5 is all going to be transitionary sounds. So all transitions on C5 to B5. Now another cool feature that is unique to Damage 2 specifically, I don't know if it's available on any other Heavyocity plugin, but it would be really cool if in the future they did add it, is this stutter effect on the side over here. Now as you're playing your loops back, you can stutter them using C0 to B0. And if we take a look here, it looks like this second half is where all the different trigger rates are going to be accessible. So if I play my loops back and then engage the stutter effect, this is what it sounds like. So that is really cool, a very useful feature performance-wise as well. Now when you're playing through these different loops, each key has its own settings for volume, pan, tune, speed, and send. Okay, and then the source page is where you can change out the different loops for each key. You have straight categories for different loops, you have triplet, and then even transitionary sounds and hits that you can put on the different keys. So if I wanted to go up to the first category here, and let's just preview what this Fury Max sounds like. I can put Fury Max on any one of these key sets and you can change between them by clicking on them. And you'll see up here, it updates what octave you're working with. So right now we're on C4 to B4, but we can go to C3 to B3 and then C2 to B2. So I'm just going to place Fury Max on this first key. And then let's see what that sounds like now. And then if I wanted to add something else to the second octave, go maybe to hybrid. Let's go to the straight. Yeah, let's add that to C3. And then let's choose one more here. Yeah, let's just add this to C4. Now this might not sound good, but let's see what it sounds like. And then if we go back to the loop page, it's actually a different selection for that first key. Let's go ahead and make sure it's on all C keys. So C2, C3, and C4. And let's trigger that to see what those new loops sound like. That actually sounds pretty good. Okay, so now you can see that that's how you change out the different loops using the source page. And just like the other two instrument options, you can sort things out by all, full, low, mid, and high. Okay, so that is a deep dive look at Damage 2. And remember, this is going on until the 20th where you can save 50% off, or if you've had Damage 1, you can get an upgrade pricing once you log into Native Instruments website. And I'll also leave my affiliate link below if you're interested in picking it up. Listen to the demos that are online, and yeah, there's just so many other things that you can get half off from Heavyocity right now. I've just started to really dive into all of these different plugins. From the Mosaic line, we got leads, plucks, basses. I've also had a chance to dig into Vocalise 3 a little bit. I'm really just scratching the surface though. It's amazing that all of Heavyocity's plugins are currently on sale because they are quite expensive, but man, are they useful. But like I said, I'll leave my affiliate link below if you're interested in checking it out. And if you enjoyed this deep dive video, stay on the lookout because as I get into these different plugins more, I'm going to be featuring them on this channel as they have so much to offer within each plugin. These NKS plugins have to be one of my favorite collaboration sales that comes out with Native Instruments. Super powerful Kontakt and Komplete Kontrol instrument plugins. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.